Yeah, I figured before I go to bed, I'm gonna do a little bit of choices that matter and the sun went out. It used to be just called choices and the sun went out, but then they changed it to choices that matter. Just thought I'd record a bit of it. Just welcome back, teacher. Tim and Gabriel. Yeah. I had like a Bond style one from my original playthrough. Choices that matter, and the sun went out. Day 95, and the orange ball of gas that sustained life on this planet for billions of years was still burning in the sky. The scientists were completely wrong, thankfully. Something vibrated on my wrist. I raised my hand and studied the watch-like device. It was a Modicon, or simply Modi, as I called them. Hello, teacher. The temperature this afternoon is a crisp 30 degrees Fahrenheit. I do hope you're wearing your warm jacket. Don't forget that you also need to pick up the travel documents from Miss Montague. She's expecting you at her home. Stepping out in the train car, I adjusted my coat. Modi was right. I should have worn the one with the wool lining. Too late to worry about that now. Dolores Montague's house wasn't too far away from the train station. As my boots crunched the snow, I felt Modi vibrating on my wrist. As ever, Modi's cheerful face greeted me. You have just received a message from Professor Soul. He's insisting you see his latest breakthrough right away. Rendezvous with Dolores. Visit Professor Soul. Professor will have to wait until later, Modi. We've got to get those tickets and my passport from Dolores. Would you like to know the location of Miss Montague's residence? No thanks, Modi. I've got this. No problem, teacher. You know where I am. Remember her address. 1204 South Street. Not too far away. Before I knew it, I was knocking on her front door. Why are you winking, Modi? Remember her address. So at time you turned up, the door was opened by Dolores, a tall woman with olive skin and shoulder-length dark hair. The dim light made her features difficult to make out, and her body language suggested she was a little tired. I came as soon as I could. Anything wrong? No thanks. Nothing. Thanks for your concern, though. You don't need to worry about me. I've known Dolores long enough to realize that she wouldn't let you know she was feeling, even if it was an issue. Everything went off without a hitch. Dolores was holding a folder in her hand, presumably the one I was here for. Did anyone see you? Was there any trouble? There never is. We're professionals. So the travel documents? Dolores handed me the folder. I looked inside and saw the usual stuff. A passport, phone tickets, credit card, and an initiary. The initiary scanned and stored. Travel destination, Peru. So I'm headed to Peru? Well, I couldn't see Dolores' expression in that light. I could tell she wasn't impressed with the situation. Looks like it. Rest up. It'll be a long flight. We said our goodbyes quickly and sensed that Dolores was still angry at my decision. Our heated discussion the previous day was still fresh in my mind. We'll be heading to Peru right away? Remembering Soul's message, I sighed. Not yet, Modi. We still have to find out what the professor has to tell me. Sometimes I wish I hadn't hired Soul. His paranoia could be stifling, but I did hire him. Started making my way to the professor's house. You sound upset, teacher. Was there also been a disagreement with the professor? Does he have the same concerns as Miss Montague? Different Modi. The professor, it's more about his general personality. Yeah, you could be mean to Modi, and you can't show him compassion, or them compassion, or you can be like show them compassion and let them, build up their empathy. Okay, you teach and behave better, teacher. No, Modi, I'm not his teacher. He's too old to have one. Okay, that's too bad, because I think you're an excellent teacher. I only smile in response. While we're going through the city, my thoughts were interrupted by an elderly man standing in the middle of the plaza, sandwiched by a large cardboard signs. Frozen hell is coming for everyone. I should used to those by now. Doomsday signs started 3 months ago after the temporary sun outage incident. Is frozen hell coming for me too, teacher? Hell isn't real, Lottie. Only humans go to hell, Lottie. I understand, teacher. Now that I was thinking about it, I wonder if that was strictly true considering how freezing cold it was this winter. It's a good thing Monty couldn't feel the chill. After about 20 minutes, I finally arrived. I wrapped my arms around myself and shivered a little. It was snowing throughout the entire journey. Across the lawn, I pushed the buzzer on the front door. No response. Tried again, still nothing. The door was locked. Obviously, maybe he had gone out. Bonnie's going to scold me about this. So the situation was putting me off. Why would the professor send me an urgent invite and not be home? There wasn't anyone on the street, and even if there was, the snowfall would provide excellent cover. I serendipitously pulled out my set of lockpicks and began working on the lock. Isn't lockpicking illegal, teacher? Yes, but sometimes we have to do illegal things. Besides, I'm doing this to check on the professor. I'm sure he'll understand. I understand, teacher. Sometimes we have to do illegal things to help our friends. Click. Door finally opened with a soft creak. You did it! Yeah, I did it. I smiled and put my lockpicks away. Giving the street one last glance, I let myself into the professor's home. There was a large suitcase sitting by the front door. From its bulging sides, I had the impression that it was overpacked. He was getting out of Dodge. Was Sol going somewhere? He hadn't said anything about a trip. Suddenly my phone rang, surprising me. It's Miss Montague, teacher. Would you like to answer? Sure, put her through. Dolores, what's up? You might want to turn on the TV, she stated. I'm not home right now. Hang on. I think there's a TV upstairs. I left the railing and headed up the steps, each wooden stair creaking and groaning as I went. Okay, one thing I should mention about teacher. Teacher is purposely meant to be ambiguous. They're kind of like Taylor from the Lifeline series. And there was actually some things I found where they were gendered in other parts of the story that I submitted and they got edited. When I first played in 2017. I'd like all my weird, 13% to 9% root. But teacher's meant to be any gender, any religion. It's up to the player. Like the player could choose, like they're never offered anything that's not kosher or anything, so it's not, violating anything, so they can just keep playing as if they're setting themselves into the person. I actually played my version teacher kind of when I played Dream Daddy. So if you want to look back at that, that's kind of... I don't know if I even recorded that. I might just screenshotted it a bit. It was a long, long time ago. But anyway, yeah. So that's what teacher is. Climbing into the attic, most of it was covered in a thick layer of dust and cobwebs. Disused boxes, papers, books, and paraphernalia crowded most of the tiny space. Hurry up, she urged. Patience, Dolores. I just got here. Give me a moment. I'm gonna scold her. One area, however, I'd seen frequent use. A crude desk made from excess boxes and planks. Sitting atop it was an exquisite clockwork model of the solar system. There was, however, no television. The professor must have sold it since I was last up there. No TV up here either. Dolores, you'll have to tell me what's on it. So I never saw I came through the phone. I could partly see her frowning in annoyance. Very well. Do you remember Philip Argyle? CEO of Flare Energy? Yes, him, Dolores confirmed approvingly. Listen to this. I could hear the television in the background getting louder. I'm not bad-mouthing him because I'm being professional. Flare Energy. Stock prices plummeted into an all-time low. CEO Philip Argyle is assuring investors that this is merely a temporary setback. I whistled. Sounds like he's in trouble. The preamble to this, I don't know if it gets into that, but the preamble is suddenly one day everything went dark. There was no sun. There was no stars. It was, the sun was gone. And it came back. But since then it's hit the world like a doomsday. Science is trying to figure out what's going to happen again, what happened. Air's gotten colder, it's how things are going to be. He won't last the night. But, yeah, I, like, figured out the plot twists and stuff, and Amy was like, oh god. like, I had figured out stuff, like, chapters before stuff happened. Just because, you know, I was in that mindset. He won't, you think so? Yes, Lucky's already settled his account. That's something at least. I'm responsible for this. Also, you might want to know that none of our connections are responsible, Dolores added. Good to hear. With nothing else of interest in the attic, I decided to explore elsewhere. I passed by the bulging luggage front door that climbed down the second flight of stairs, headed for the basement. Ah yes, there's something else I forgot to tell you earlier. It's quite important. Hang on, a little dark down here, I said. I felt along the basement wall. The entire room was pitch black. You see, oh, someone's at the door. It won't be a moment. I could hear her footsteps fade as she walked to the front door. Oh, one flight switch. Wouldn't be my first time having to find a light switch in this room. Professor sometimes worked in total darkness, especially recently. Feeling my way along the wall, loose bits of rope brushed against the back of my fingers. Found it. I smiled. Pulled the light switch cord only to reveal a grim discovery. Professor Soul was dead. Lying on his front, the professor's back exposed a large bullet wound, his white lab coat splattered with blood. Bile rose to my throat and I gagged, covering my mouth with my hand. My work had always been dangerous, but I'd never been confronted with the body of a friend before. My heart pounded, making me dizzy. 100 thoughts and emotions raced through my mind all at once. What did this mean? Why would someone kill him? Did it have anything to do with what we were doing? Yeah, teacher's kind of like a secret agent type thing, like they're hired to be, you know, above things, like, you know, and not exist. Wait, was that someone at Dolores' door? Dolores, don't answer the... Bang. An ear-splitting gunshot rang through the receiver. The line went silent. But it's time for call to help. Stay on the line and try to listen. What I picked last time. I can't remember what I picked. It's been almost 10 years. I'm gonna call for help just to help Maudie out. I was too far away from Dolores. The only ones who could possibly help her at the time were hung up and immediately dialed the emergency number. There was no time to lose. Teacher, this is most alarming. I am concerned for Miss Montague's future. I paced around a little as I waited for the call to connect, looking down occasionally at the couple form of Soul on the floor. First Tim and now Dolores. Were these two events connected? Yeah. Blair, 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 bling, bling. Click. Connected. I heard a gunshot, said before adding, I mean at 1204 So Street, please hurry. Sounds of typing on the other end. I'll send a patrol unit right away. The officer on the other end replied for me. Please don't put yourself in danger to answer this question. Are you able to see the gunman? I immediately pushed the hang up call button on the phone. The police did not need to know that. The important thing was that they were on their way to Dolores. But it wasn't over. I turned around slowly and glanced at the body. I forgot to report Professor Soul's murder. Teacher, what do we do? Somewhere in the back of my mind I knew. I knew that Soul was murdered for his research. The answer is on Soul research. Looked at the professor's large data nose that was oddly empty. It was unusually covered with messy handwritten notes. It was usually covered in messy handwritten notes and research papers. Soul must have packed everything into his research chest. I walked over trying to avoid the body of my friend and tried to open the large trunk sitting just to the right of the desk. It was locked. Of course it was. My desk rubbed through each door one by one, hoping to find the key. No, you're going to have to look on his body. Teacher. I see it, teacher. It's next to your right hand. Thanks, Maudie. I had the key and fit it into the lock, popping the trunk open, found it. There was a large bunch of files and folders at the bottom of the chest. With this and Soul's diary, I should be able to hire another scientist to make sense of the professor's work. Diary. It suddenly occurred to me that I had forgotten it. At first I tried looking for it in the desk where it usually was at, but it wasn't there. In fact, it wasn't anywhere in this room. It must have been stolen. That is a lot of papers, teacher. Can we take them with us? Let's call the moving company, Maudie. I don't remember this part at all. Suddenly I heard a noise upstairs, holding my breath and telling Maudie to be quiet. Try to listen. I know I got kidnapped, like, around here. Point your gun somewhere else, you dolt. Sorry, boss. I thought you might have shot some. Had to shoot someone is all. There were at least 2 gunmen upstairs, and they were armed. Well, ain't me you're shooting, and hurry up. It should be in the basement. Teacher, they're coming down here. Quiet, Maudie. Let me think. I took a quick look around the basement. There wasn't another exit. There was no wardrobe for me to hide in. I'd be able to hide under the large desk, though. Dim lighting a room might help me, though. There. Clomp, clomp, clomp. I heard the men walking down the stairs. The door swung upwards. I might be able to hide behind it. It wouldn't keep me hidden for long, but maybe long enough for me to slip out. Teacher, they're nearly here. Chest with the professor's research work. It was just large enough to fit me, and it was less exposed than the door. Hide in the chest. The best bet was to make a quick exit. I made the way to the door and stood behind it, waiting. It was later my chest thumped as the door swung open, blocking me from the men's view as they walked in. I told you no one's here, you dolt, the shorter, stockier man, as they strode to the center of the room. Sorry, boss, it's the tall and lanky man, but I should keep the gun up just in case, you know. Fine, fine, do whatever you want, just help me with the chest. Sure, boss, on my way. Creak. This basement door I was trying to nudge open. All 3 of us stood there frozen, looking at each other. Uh-oh. Run. With a loud cry, leapt with a high blade and shoved the men back before dashing through the door. Bang, bang. I hear the sounds of bullets ricocheting off the wall behind me as I sprinted up the stairs. Bang, bang, bang. You're not getting away. They were chasing after me into the street. Get into a bus. Bang, bang. And down the street amidst a few pink special light, headed straight for the stop bus. Bang, bang. I jumped aside. I felt that last bullet whizzing by my shoulder. As I finally reached the bus, I cut the line of people left in, startling a few passengers. Drive to the other bus driver, hurry. Bang, bang. Widow. Next to the passenger shattered, a few people screamed. Driver nodded and hit the accelerator, pulling the bus away from the shooters. After a minute later, I looked back and breathed a sigh of relief. We'd lost them. Bus skidded to a halt. Get out, roared the driver. I don't want no trouble on my bus. I tried to apologize, but the driver was having none of it, so I left the bus. Didn't call the cops, just kicked me off the bus. We should go home as soon as possible, teacher. It's not safe out here. Maudie was right. I had to return home quickly. Something was happening, and I wasn't sure what happened. It doesn't sound like it's very safe for you to go home, teacher, if 2 of your contacts have been murdered. Call taxi. Call taxi. Journey home was passed in silence. I watched it. The snow started falling again more heavily than before. Whether or not the colder weather would be a tribute to the sun incident was a hot topic amongst meteorologists. I finally walked into my apartment. Maudie pinged on my wrist. What are we doing tomorrow, teacher? That's a good question. Decided. Delt reached into my jacket and pulled out the sherry from Dolores. We should stick to the plan and head to Peru, Maudie. What about Miss Montague? What do we do about that now? Maudie. She can take care of herself, Maudie. Okay, teacher. Peru it is. I in my bed thought about the events of the day. What had happened to Sol and Dolores? It couldn't be a coincidence that they were both attacked on the same day. Was the murderer after the research or something else? I felt fatigue take over my body, mind sinking into the slumber, stealing a moment of peace. Act 1 completed. Yeah, this didn't end how my original one did. My original one, I got, like, drugged, like, tranquilized, and then, you know, shipped off to Peru. I wonder if this will tell me how many people. Yeah, you're 227% of players will be flying to Peru in the morning. Art. 2-1. Oh, I can watch the credits. Yeah, KG Tang, I think he's on our, the Lifeline Discord server. But that's who I spoke with a lot with things like this. Yeah, you can go up. I wonder how far... No. Good morning, teacher. Temperature this morning is a cool 20 degrees Fahrenheit. The weather in Peru is expected to reach a comfortable 72 degrees Fahrenheit during the day and a cool 43 degrees Fahrenheit during the night. I'll play to a half hour. I suggest you pack for both eventualities, teacher. I groaned as rolled out of bed. While waking up, Monty's smiley face was preferable to the bleating of my old alarm. Waking up before dawn was never pleasant. Thank you, Monty. Is there any updates on the news of Dolores or Professor Sol? Yes, teacher. The police have released Professor Sol's name to the public, and I confirmed that it was a homicide. Miss Montague's case has been labeled a domestic disturbance, and her whereabouts are still unknown. They have not yet, as of yet, connected the two cases, teacher. Best they don't, Monty. Packing a few things that I would need on my trip did not take long. I learned recently to pack fast and light. Once I was done, it was simply a matter of opening the safe I hid behind the bedside dresser and storing a few valuables away. Do you think we'll ever know who killed Professor Sol, or why? We know why. We may never know who, though. Pulling everything else in the safe, I shut firmly and replaced the bedside dresser and stand. Should I call a taxi for you, teacher? Not just yet, Monty. I've still got some time. From my dilapidated fridge, I searched for the last ticket I bought last week and put it in the microwave. Not an exciting meal, but it'd be better than what the airport had. A week-old takeout. With my nose at the thought, it had been on more airplanes recently than I ever had in my life. The sun's 3-hour vanishing act, it turned out, wasn't just a course of panic, it was a realization of our vulnerability as humans. Our existence could be gone in a moment. It was my job to find a solution. The microwave chimed, and I ate my stale meat in silence, leaning against the kitchen counter. That was actually a chime. That was like an old, like turn the knob microwave. Monty buzzed on my wrist. Teacher, I must insist. My GPS informs me that if you don't leave soon, you will not arrive in time to check your luggage. Alright, Monty, let's see what Peru has offered. They'll go great early. Monty, as always, was correct. By the time the taxi arrived at the airport, I had to rush to make it to my gate in time. My rush was only made worse by the droves of people who had decided that the end of the world was the perfect time to go on that long-awaited holiday. More than one person had gone bankrupt since the incident. As soon as I was still allocated a seat and listening to the usual warning from the flight attendant, I switched all devices to flight mode. I have switched myself into flight mode as well, teacher. Your flight is scheduled to take 7 hours and 15 minutes. Should I compile a playlist for that time frame? Yes, thank you, Monty. Plugged in my headphones to Monty's slot, rested my head against the back of my seat. I would never get used to the waiting. Teacher, how many Montycon devices are there in the world? Monty, most people can't afford one yet. None like you, Monty. Thank you, teacher. Well, my system would indicate that you're being very kind, but incorrect. I'll play your music now. My preferred music began playing in the ears, and I relaxed as the force of takeoff pushed me in the back of my seat. Like, even for up until 2022 when I switched phones, I had a little picture of Monty on my phone from when I played, like, just like an icon of him, or them, because it just was like, I liked having Monty around with me. Closed my eyes and tried to rest as well as I could for the long flight. Monty kept my music varied for a few hours before I drifted off to sleep. My own Google Assistant, like, I don't have it updated to Gemini or whatnot, because my phone's on Android 8, which is, old now. But I named him Orange, because I have it set to UK English and the orange setting, so I call him Orange. I feel bad because I mostly open it by mistake when I go to take a screenshot. Plain touching ground jolted me awake. We have arrived in Lima, teacher. Our connecting flight leaves in 47 minutes and has a duration of approximately 1 hour. Swiftly, sighing, I swiftly collected my hand luggage and headed down the stairs to the tarmac. Yeah, a lot more comfortable way to get to Peru than I did back in 2017. I got, injected with a tranquilizer and shipped off in like so I wouldn't know what was going on. Peruvians in traditional dress greeted me as we passed through the customs. Many of them sported depictions of a sun god and made a little note to look up their significance in the local culture. Oh, isn't this exciting? Heard they slaughter 100 lambs, you know. The village woman in front of me whispered loudly to her friend, who nodded excitedly, twisting a Taurus poncho in her hands. I frowned at the two. They pointed excitedly at the poster promoting Inti Rami, some kind of festival to do with the sun. I distinctly needed the restroom, but I was suddenly very curious about why these two were here. Yeah, Ilari from Overwatch is the sun themed Peruvian character. It's to the odd couple. This close to the older ladies, paying close attention to the poster, avoiding looking at it like I was eavesdropping. Oh, which is perfect, said the chatty one to our poncho wearing friend. I didn't get this at all during my first playthrough. That's not how many different routes there are. Because my first playthrough, I pretty much was like on the run during this part. I got kidnapped like 4 times. After the awful business with the sun, maybe people take this year more seriously. Always did say, didn't I, Fran? But the Incas had to know something we didn't. Just look at their beautiful buildings. I'm so glad we decided this, aren't you, Fran? Lady in the poncho friend nodded excitedly. Announcement echoed through the airport that the next flight mine was ready for boarding, and the woman hurried up. I followed them at a slower pace. A 50-minute flight from Lima to Cusco was uneventful. It was certainly more comfortable than the alternative, a 20-hour journey bus through the mountains. I made my way through the concourse and joined the throng of passengers waiting at luggage carousel. 4 more minutes. My small green rucksack appeared and quickly slipped on my back, making my way over to the immigration. A quick stamp on my passport, no questions asked, was a perfect way to start a rather impromptu visit to South America. Now I needed to work out how to reach the center of the supposedly beautiful day to the hotel Dolores had booked. Hire a car. Yeah, I think this is what I did. I think this is how I met Sharon. I stood in the back of the taxi about with my baggage to find a paperwork and the name of the hotel Dolores had booked. The name of the hotel is Santa Maria Hotel, teacher. You got one of those gadgets, huh? My daughter wants one, but simple taxi drivers like us can't afford one. The driver was twisted around the front seat looking at me with a warm smile. Her accent pronounced her to be a foreign to the country as I was, but she seemed at ease with her surroundings. I gave her a tired smile and told her the name of the hotel, tucking my baggage away. What brings you to the city of the sun, mate? She asked, expertly navigating the streets of Cusco. The company sent me here to try to figure out where the sun went. I was gonna lie. Saturday holiday. Seemed like a lot of people had the same idea. It's not as common tale these days. I rubbed my neck, dreaming of bed and a proper rest. These last couple of days picked up enough travelers that are enough to see the Inti Rami festival. The hotels are filled to the brim because of it. You're lucky to get a room. I have a very good travel agent. Had maybe now. Who knew what happened to Dolores after I left? Still, she always did have a way of getting out of tricky messes. The streets of Cusco were beautiful, to be sure. The buildings were a eclectic mix of Spanish and Incan influences, one built upon the other. It wasn't long before I reached our destination, the Santa Maria Hotel. It was a quaint place, not too pricey and not too cheap. It was perfect for my purposes. I had to drive and open the door, ready to travel over a gust of wind. Took me by surprise when I was against the dust. Hesitation, I paused long enough to notice a man standing in the shadows. Something about the stature made my shivers go down my spine. I eased back into the car. Everything all right, friend? The nice driver watched me in the rearview mirror. I couldn't take my eyes off the man in the shadows. Suddenly he shifted and couldn't clear, so the gun holster attached to his belt as well as a golden glint in his eyes. Yeah, when I first met Sharon, in this, I was like, you know, on a car chase, and I think this is where this is going. The events back home made it clear that it wouldn't stay here. It was too much of a coincidence. The man was waiting for me, and I could feel it. I closed the taxi door. Can't stay here. Take me to another hotel, please. Is this wise, teacher? We know very little of Sharon or Cusco. We'll keep our wits about us, Monty, and be careful. Unless we have trust good as a people, Monty. Sharon's house wasn't too far away from the long hours and stress were catching up to me. My eyelids were heavy and take too much of the city during the fight. Yeah, I missed this whole part. Driver actually turned to his seat to make eye contact. I told you, there isn't anywhere else. Are you in some kind of trouble, mate? She might wonder if I should tell her the truth. I didn't even know her name. Her eyes softened as she wants me. Look, got a spare bedroom. If you're welcome to use it, it's a small boarding fee until the festival is passed. While you're waiting here, I'll match it. Seemed hinky, staying at a stranger's house, but given the situation, I had little choice. I agreed. She smiled and offered me a firm handshake. My name is Sharon. Welcome to Peru. Sharon's house wasn't too far away from the long... Okay, I just wanted to make sure I actually didn't pick the other choice. Sharon's house wasn't too far away from the long hours of stress were catching up to me. Eyelids were too heavy to take in much of the city during the ride. Once we arrived, she showed me their spare room, the simple, clean bathroom before leaving me to my own devices. Okay, we're at 30 minutes. Solely wanted to shower, but I slept for washing my face, falling in a single bed, dreaming of dark dreams. The sun was still high when I woke up. I took the much-needed shower and wandered in the kitchen where Sharon was sitting, chewing some leaves from a bag. The nice thing about having a sudden boarder is I don't have to be in that bloody hot taxi all day, she told me, grinning. Smiling back at her, I sank into the seat at the table, feeling lightheaded. Are you okay, teacher? No. Sharon gave me a nod. Look, you look like a tourist. Here, chew this. It's cocoa leaves. Illegal where I come from, but you'll give you the right kind of sea legs for this altitude. Took some of the leaves and studied them, curious. Before a pop into my mouth. Are these illegal? What's your deal, Sharon? Just a cabbie. Moved here from my home near Melbourne, Australia just over 2 years ago for that Inti Raymi festival. I didn't mean to go up. It was only meant to be a short-term thing to soak up some culture, but what are you going to do? Seemed very casual and said all this as if she wasn't in her kitchen taking in a complete stranger. I wonder if it was because of her occupation or just her personality. Said you had a daughter, I asked, curious. She nodded. She married a young Peruvian while she was on a trip here, the reason I came here in the first place. She convinced me to stay and got me my taxi, not that it was hard around here, and Jackaroo, where 4 wheels could put up a plastic sign. Take it you're on a Jackaroo with 4 wheels, I asked. I'm a Jackaroo with 4 wheels and a taxi registration. That's better. Teacher, what's a Jackaroo? It isn't in my vocabulary. Sharon questionably showing her Maudie's face. She laughed, not explaining. Perhaps it was more her personality than her occupation that made her act in such a way. What is Inti Raymi? Stood and walked over to the tiny bookshelf corner, grabbing what looked like a children's book and bringing it back. Inti Raymi was apparently the biggest festival in the Incan calendar, something about their rulers being related to the sun gods or that kind of thing. But for the pages, it was indeed a children's picture book. Spanish, so I couldn't read it, but as most children's books, the pictures were mostly told most of the story. Yeah, I'm going to get out of this explanation, and I'm going to save, and that's going to be it. Somehow it lasted many hundreds of years. She's continued even after the Incans were no more. And I probably won't be recording this because, again, I have to be tethered to the laptop, and I'd rather just take this with me and play it. Except for the particular page depicting Inca rulers trying to convince the sun to return to them. That would have been taking place during the winter solstice when the sun would seem more distant from the sky. What they did when they thought the sun was wandering away. What did they do when there was an eclipse? Asked Sharon, looking up at her. She shrugged. I'm the wrong person to ask, so just know the modern story. There's an old historian across the way who knows a lot more about these things, but talking to him is a bit hard. He only knows Quichua, the native language, and rough Spanish. I'm probably not pronouncing that right. Flipped through a few more pages before settling once again on the same page that had caught my eye earlier. It's a possible coincidence. I was here just before the Inca festival started. It had to be why I was sent here. But for what purpose? Surely it was not all superstitions and myths. And across from me, smiling pleasantly. My fight or flight instinct was still in effect, and I was cautious about letting her know too much. On the other hand, I did need some kind of translator to meet this historian. She was obviously comfortable in culture in the area. I'd like to meet the historian, and how long away food or so. Would I care to come with me as a translator? Rubbed her hands together and collecting her bag, cocoa leaves, and standing. Alright, grab what you need, I'll be out front. Warm the car, she's a bit old these days, and that she left the room. Rubbed my eyes when cocoa leaves helped with the altitude sickness and sleep, restore my batteries. I felt like I was a step behind and $1 short. Took a moment to grab a bag from the spare room and meet Sharon in the car. When she gave me a tooth-filled grin, I jumped into the passenger side and we peeled off the streets of Cusco. Around the city was getting ready for the festival. Lights were being hung in the main streets, and people in traditional dress were swarming amongst the tourists, trying to earn the Peruvian sol, the local currency. dotted amongst everything else was suspicious sun gods, Incan royal family, and strangely llamas. I tapped on Monty's face. Monty, what's the llama place in the festival in Tarami? Before Monty could reply, Sharon piped up beside me. Oh, they used to sacrifice them back in the day. Whole packs were selected for their brown color, and she smiled pleasantly as wound through the streets with ease. Actually, teacher, the gathering of llamas is referred to as a herd, but otherwise Miss Sharon is correct. I smiled at Monty's petulance. The programmers did a good job of recreating human emotion. I assume they don't do this anymore. Sure not. Still make a show of it, but they're only symbols, puppets, I think. Wouldn't get that close the year I went. The crowds were crazy. Actually surprised no one wanted to actually kill some of the beasts this year after all that nonsense when the sun going out. I raised my eyebrows, surprised. Nonsense. Life consumed with the hows and whys, the incident, and the taxi driver dismissed it as nonsense. Slowed down, set of lights, and almost upon cue, a man in brown llama across the intersection. Sharon watched it casually. Maybe I was wrong. Does Australian culture have a lore about sun gods? I'll ask her about Australia, because I'm completely off where I was before. Does Australian culture and lore? I asked. Well, assume not your young country. Maybe why a small check in your rear mirror. Well, there's Aboriginals, you know. Our culture is a bit laughable. Well, before the English arrived, we turned into a prison island, and land belonged to the Aborigines. They had their dream time. Yeah, there's a whole Doctor Who. It's kind of not. You know, it's the Seventh Doctor, Big Finish audio, called Dreamtime, about it. Dreamtime, I asked. Dreamtime is where the belief system comes from. Dreaming, they find reason for things that have no reason. They are very spiritual, connected to their land. Being said, I can only remember what I learned in primary school. She shrugged and nodded, letting it go. Stopping again at a set of traffic lights, suddenly wondered if maybe it would have been quicker to walk in this frenzy. No, people are getting so worked up about, though honestly, her tone was offhand. I looked at her incredulous. Are you kidding? The sun went out literally. She shrugged. Came back on. No harm, no foul. You can throw it back and forth all you want, but it happened. We're still here and life moves on. She'll be right. She'll be right, I repeated, open mouth. I don't mean to alarm you, mate, but it seems that you're being followed. Friends of ours. Okay, I'm gonna pause. That's what I mean. I got 34 choices made. But yeah, I think that's going to be it for me because I am, it's been a half hour. I gotta get to bed, feed the cats, go to bed.